Greetings and welcome back to another session of the course titled Academic Speaking and Presentation Skills. This is a wonderful topic that we are going to cover today. The topic is word stress. We have already seen how important phonemes are to build our proper pronunciation that is required in English language. When we speak of word stress, it is combined of multiple things. Let's see what we are going to cover in today's session. First, what we are going to see is the prominence of word stress that will help us understand what word stress is, how it can be, built in a particular word, and we are going to see the examples of disyllabic and polysyllabic words. We are also going to see the rules of word stress with different language, right? Especially when we speak about certain components of English language as nouns, as verbs, right? There are certain rules that are applicable with prefix, suffix. So we are going to understand all the rules of word stress. We are also going to see how word stress acts in homographs, right? And at the end of the session, we'll have well-rounded summary. So hoping that you would catch up in the session today. First and foremost, the prominence of word stress. What do we understand by prominence of word stress?
Slide we have is knowing the prominence of word stress. What is word stress? High pitch, high volume, longer duration. All of these are part of tone, right? But however, while we are speaking, we take a pause at specific level, and that pause, that stress, which to speak in a higher tone, which to speak in a lower tone, which to speak for a longer period of time, which to speak at a particular volume. That is what decides the word stress. So the three features that you could see on the screen are actually the key characteristics that define a word when we are speaking the word. And therefore, if it is spoken correctly, it turns out to be the correct way of communicating in an academic platform. So therefore, it is very important for us to learn the prominence of word stress. Any word in English which is disyllabic or polysyllabic uses the word stress during pronunciation of the word sounds. Last time, what we have learned in phonemes is that phonemes are the smallest syllable, right? And those are the smallest waves, how the sounds are spoken. So this is another characteristic feature. There are monosyllabic, disyllabic, and polysyllabic use of words, right? Stress during the pronunciation of the word sounds. So while we are trying to pronounce any word, there is a specific period of gap that we take while speaking the word. There are different puff of airs that come out, right? So to understand word stress, it is very much equally important to understand what are syllables and how they are playing the key role in giving prominence to the sound or the word that it exists. So therefore, it is important to understand that word stress are basically, definitely it works on monosyllabic as well, but however, it is only for the single word. So it will only go for one, and therefore there will always be the prominence on one syllable because it's one syllable, monosyllable. The first sound itself, or the first phoneme that the word has itself takes the prominence, right? Whereas in disyllabic and polysyllabic, the pitch, the longer duration, the stress would change frequently, right? The word stress, why is it used? Word stress adds meaning to the word, right? Word stress, if used correctly, makes the pronunciation smooth and comprehensible. Word stress are crucial to break monotonous communication pattern. If there is a reason in today's time, AI also can read out the text. AI can do a lot of stuffs. But how do we know that this is a human being and not a machine? because of the word stress that we use while we are speaking. Definitely, from person to person, the pronunciation would change based on the pitch, the volume, and the duration of the syllabic stress that they would put on a particular word. And therefore it generally comes out with your intention of delivering the message, and therefore it is quite necessary to understand why this word stress is important. The very first, these are the three pointers that you can see on the screen, are basically telling you the importance of why we need to understand word stress, why it is, simply saying words, everybody can say it. But when we are learning academic speaking, right, it is important for us to add meaning to the words, and it is, added only if you know the correct sounds. So therefore, if you put the correct stress in the correct word, it would be more smooth. It will make the communication pattern, not only attractive, not only gaining attention, but however also, it enhances the meaning of whatever we are trying to say. So that is why the prominence of word stress is important. Pitch, we need to remember the, you know, producing of sounds at a particular you know vocal cords, that is the pitch, and then the volume of it, right, out of the whole word. How I will do practice it in the next slides to come, but this is the basic understanding of the word stress. Okay, the importance of it and where it is basically used. Monosyllabic, no, it will take the word stress, but it will generally be on the very first phoneme. If there are monosyllabic words, cat, sun, moon, chair, house. Now, whenever we are trying to say these words, right, these are the phonemic sounds. We know that multiple phonemic sounds are used. Ka, at, ka, at. In the words of the nouns, cat, right? Ka, at, sa, n, right? N doesn't come out. Sun. And together, when we club these phonemes, it becomes a word. And that word, generally, when it is monosyllabic, right, such as cat, sun, moon, chair, house, run, walk, eat, talk, stand, be it in any category, nouns, verbs, adjectives, or adverbs, it will always has the stress in the very first sound. Okay, so that is ko. In this nouns, cat, it is sun, it is moon, it is chair, it is house, house, right? We need to start saying these words. I know that these words are very simple. The reason why I have taken simple words is that you will be able to say these words very smoothly, right? Until and unless we do not practice, I want you people to practice, saying this monosyllabic sounds with me, so that when we turn to the, disyllabic or polysyllabic sounds, the identification of the word stress becomes more easy. There are the words that uses more than one phonemic sound, but are spoken in one puff of air and thus are identified as monosyllabic. Okay, so therefore, ka, ch, ka, ch, and therefore these three phonemic sounds together clubbed as one word, and stress is only one, because when you say cat, you do not take a pause while you are speaking the word cat. You do not take a pause while you are speaking the word sun. And whenever I'm talking about the pause and everything else, right, it is very quick. While you are saying cat, you don't even realize and you've spoken it out, right? So it's very quick. And similarly, it will happen even in the disyllabic sounds and polysyllabic sounds. Even while we are taking a pause, even while we are stressing one particular syllable than the other, it is very apparent and needed to be known that, it will be very quickly. So even you cannot every time think and, use this word stress. So we need to understand that as well, right? So I'll just speak out this monosyllabic sounds and I want you to repeat those with me, right? Okay. So first is cat. 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 So therefore, cat ko first sound has the word stress. Sun. mm, mm, sa, mm, right? Sa, that will be very short, and sa is pronounced for a longer period of time. So therefore, the word stress is on sa, right? Mu, n. Now mu, n. The n has very quick sound. Therefore, ma, its will be very common, right? But ma is what gives the meaning to the word. So ma, mu, n, ma, mu, n, right? So it's moon. And moon is M is spoken for a longer, duration. So remember the three things: pitch, volume, and duration of the syllable. That ma is taking the longer duration, therefore moon. And therefore the word stress will be on ma, right? Share, then chair, 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 but it is spoken together and it's fast, so it's only one. Chair, two syllabic, right? Chair, chair, right? So chair, cha, cha, and therefore this club together, chair, cha, is spoken for a longer duration. Therefore, cha takes the word stress. House, house. When we say house, that h takes is spoken for a longer, right? Over here, it's ha. That glottal, semi-glottal sounds that comes, right? Semi-vowel, ha, is spoken for a longer duration. So house, right? House mein H will take the word stress. Run, walk, eat, talk, stand, speak. While you are saying these words, it's only one puff of air. Put your hand in front of your mouth and try speaking. Run, walk, eat, talk. So only one time that puff of air would come out of your mouth and you will feel it on your hand, right? So if you are putting your left hand in front of your mouth, you will be able to feel it, right? So run, walk, eat, fit, talk, stand, speak, right? Big, bright, dark, short. It will be only one puff of air, and therefore it is monosyllabic. In all of these sounds, the initial sound would take the word stress, and that is why it will be spoken for a longer period of time. Now that we have understood the monosyllabic words, right, what is more important to understand is if there are words which has multiple syllable, right, then who takes the prominence? So word frequency effect refers to an individual ability to use, understand, and respond to the word quickly with ease. It is used to trace the pace, proficiency, fluency, and accuracy of an individual using a language. The reason why how I speak English is very different from how you speak English and how a third person speaks English. But it definitely doesn't change the very common knowledge of how a word is spoken. Yes, what might change could be the pace of it. What might change could be the fluency of it, right? But at the same point of time, how it is to be spoken, or if we are using a specific word, it has this many particular syllables will remain the same. And word stress is basically placed because of that commonly known knowledge. Okay, so word frequency will also play a very important effect in referring or in being able to use and understand the words that we are going to understand very quickly. So what is disyllabic word stress and what is polysyllabic word stress? When we are talking mono, we already learned, right? Mono is one word and one syllable. Disyllabic will always have two, right, high frequency words that quickly responds to the words that is heard, right, would be disyllabic words. Mostly low frequency words are generally identified to be polysyllabic words, right, that has two different particular categories of sounds clubbed together, and polysyllabic will have two particular specific sounds right? Which more than two specific syllabic sounds in one single word, which are clubbed together. So therefore, disyllabic will have, monosyllabic has one sound, disyllabic will have two syllables together, and polysyllabic will have multiple syllables together, right? So there are important things that we need to keep in mind, which are word stress rules. Okay, there are rules, there are guidelines, rather, if you want to understand it like that, right? Which in some way or the other, it helps us to identify that if there are two syllables, the stress would come over here at the first, or it would come at the second syllable. Which syllable will take the word stress, right? So which will be spoken for a longer period of time, which will be spoken with a higher pitch, which will be spoken with a lower importance. So it's, however, in basic common language, if we want to say, we'll say that this is spoken for a longer period of time, this is spoken with a high volume, this is spoken with a quick pace, so it is not going to take that much of time, right? So that out of only two, now we need to choose which will take first and which will take second. And from word to word, not every disyllabic word will have only first prominence, or will not every disyllabic word will have a second prominence. That cannot happen. So therefore, we are going to understand how it what are the guidelines or the rules that tells us that how will the word take the stress. So many modern dictionaries uses a specific method to indicate stress in a word. They place a vertical bar above and in front of the syllable that carries the stress. Okay. So how do we identify कि यहाँ पे stress है? So there is this vertical bar that is put in front of the, can you see the cursor moving on the screen? Right? This bar, this one particular line, right? Such as in the word balloon, you will see it right in front of the L, right? This is called as a word stress. Okay, this is how we put it into the written format. So while yes, everything word stress and everything that we are learning, it is a part of the speaking process, but how do we put it into the written format? How do we identify that this is the correct way? It is by placing this vertical bar in front of the syllable that carries the stress, that is spoken for a longer period of time, that has a high volume and pitch. Okay, for instance, the word approve. Approve, approve, right? Which consists of two syllables, a and prove. Approve, right? The stress falls on the second syllable. It is noted as approve. No, it is as below. Approve, right? So therefore, we need to understand this. So balloon, balloon. It is not ball loon, right? But it is balloon. So balloon. Now b is spoken very quickly, and loon is spoken for a longer period of time. So it's balloon. Two syllables, stress on the second syllable. Camel, right? Camel, camel. But ka is spoken for a longer period of time. Therefore, it will take the stress. Approve, approve, approve. So, a is spoken for a longer period of time. Therefore, first syllable. Here it will be second. Here it will be again first. I'm sorry. So if we have this, right, we need to understand that if we have multiple words which are having two, syllables, it could be either the first or the second one that might take the prominence. Second rule is when a word has two syllables that are emphasized. Is it possible that, you know, if there is a two syllable word, can both the syllables take the prominence? It is rarely to be found, okay? But however, in polysyllabic sounds, that could be commonly identified. Words which are very long, words which has more than two syllables, might be possible that one of the syllable is spoken, very fast, doesn't has the prominence at all. Another has a lower prominence than the actual syllable that has a longer prominence. So therefore, there is a vertical bar that we have seen is the main, syllable that takes the longer period of time, whereas, kind of a lower bar, like a comma that you have seen over here, speaks of the word stress, but it is again not that much prominent in the word. So therefore, there is importance of it, but however, it is, not equally, given that much of importance in terms of spoken for a longer period of time. Okay. So every sound is important. If even if we miss a single sound, the word would not sound this similar. The word would change at the whole. But however, what we need to realize and recognize is this: that if there are more than two syllable, there is going to be one which is going to take a back foot, and there is going to be one which is going to take a major foot. So therefore, one which is going to take the full word stress, advanced word stress, and the rest will take the secondary stress. Okay, so therefore, the word stress, full advanced word stress is known as primary stress, which is spoken for a most longest period of time out of all the syllables that exist. And at the same point of time, the secondary or syllable that is there, right? Secondary stress that is there will be again stressed, but however, for a shorter than compared to the first one. So primary stress and the secondary stress is what we are going to identify. Okay, but we need to understand that there are going to be words which has more number of what do we say, syllables. Okay, so there is one monosyllabic, there is two disyllabic that has two syllables. Now we are going to identify monosyllables, polysyllabics. Okay, so over here the rule says that when a word has two syllables, they are that are emphasized, one primary stress and the other with a secondary stress. The secondary stress is indicated by placing a vertical bar, but which is lower, like here that you can see, right? Vertical bar like this. In the word adventurous, it is before a. The sound a has this is secondary stress. Okay, while below and before the syllable, while the primary stress is marked with the vertical bar above the syllable. Here, the secondary stress will be below it, whereas in primary it will be above the next phoneme, right, or the next sound that we see. So this will be primary and this will be secondary. Not necessarily this could be changing at time and again, okay, but these are the two examples that we can see over here that help to understand. These are polysyllabic words, and therefore these also takes secondary stress and the primary stress, such as word adventurous. When we speak of the word adventurous, see how do we identify that there are four syllables? Because we need to break down the word adventurous. So therefore, it is four times that we break, right, the word, and that is how we are able to speak. When we club all these four syllables together, there is one word called as adventurous. But no matter how fast you speak, adventurous, you are going to take the pause at an equal period of time. And that is what you need to understand. When we say adventurous, that ed takes a secondary stress. Ed, but venturous. So the venturous, the when, while at the second syllable will take the what? Yes, correct. The primary stress. So first is the secondary stress, and then second one, adventurous, right? That adventurous might be, see, both there when terrous, but the terrous would come together with when. So therefore, primary focus is on venturous. So adventurous, right? That is how we speak, right? The word adventurous, four syllables. Can we try the same in the other word? Bifurcation. Try speaking bifurcation. How do you how do you collect actively use the syllables? How do you identify that they are four syllables? Over here in the bracket, it is already mentioned, right? It is going to be four syllables. One takes the secondary stress, and again, the third syllable will take the primary stress, right? But over here, you need to tell me, bifurcation, bifurcation, cation, bifurcation, bifurcation. So therefore, it is four. Are you getting how fourth? I'm just this one single word, but I'm cutting it down. If I want to say it together, how would I say it? Bifurcation, bifurcation. But therefore, while we are speaking it, it is bifurcation, right? So there are four syllables. But we're not just counting the syllables, we need to understand that one takes the primary stress and one takes the secondary. By, it's spoken very fast, but it is again prominent, right? So therefore, it will take the secondary stress. Bifurcation, bifurcation, bifurcation. So therefore, cation would take the primary stress, right? The third syllable over here would take the primary stress. Again, they are going to be homographs. When we have, said in the very first slide, do you remember that this word stress give meanings to the sounds? This is an interesting fact, right? Why do we say this is homographs? Because they are two different words. But how do you prominently say, right, the one part of the particular word, it is going to make the complete sense of what the word it is. In context, अगर हम लोग पूरा sentence use करके फिर ये words को बोले तो समझ में आता है. But when there are single words, what is it, right? So then we need to understand that out of the two, right, both have this different meaning. But how you speak will give the meaning. So stress कहाँ पे होगा? Which is spoken for a longer period of time will make the meaning of it. So the first one is dessert. Dessert, right? Dessert is basically the sweet dish that we have. Dessert, right? And the second one is dessert, right? Dessert and dessert. Dessert is basically we emphasizing on the, right? The first syllable. The. If we emphasize on the second one, dessert, right? Dessert and dessert. So the second one would be, the desert that we have in Rajasthan, right? Oasis and various other things. Therefore, we need to understand. Similarly, if we are going to speak about record and record, right? So if we are going to speak of record is basically we are trying to record something, right? Right now only we had a flashing screen. So this is recording, right? Record. And this is for the record. Record is actually noting down something. Record and record. Record and record. Record and record. Okay, the stress. First syllable and the second syllable, which is spoken for a longer period of time, right? Dessert and desert is not that much very highlighted over here. From the second word onwards, when we are saying I have capitalized the sounds, right? If we are speaking for a longer period of time, record. Record is basically we are recording it, right? But record, this is for your record that you are going to sign the following document, okay? And it is going to be on the records of the university and various other things. So it is record, right? Present, 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 and present. Present is basically we are making the presentation. We are going to present this idea. We are going to present ourselves. So it is present, right? The pre will, the syllable pre, right? This is two syllabic sound, right? Disyllabic. Dessert is again, this is dessert, dessert and dessert, desert and dessert. Again, those are monosyllabic. These are record, record. present, present, right? Again, present and present, right? Object and object, and this is to object, that the object is, right? So object and object. Object is basically any materialistic thing. I object, right? No, this object is, but I object. So when do we use which? I am present or I am present, right? This is the object and this is to object that, right? We need to understand. Object will be, or will be given a rather more prominence, whereas ject will be given the lower prominence. So that is what also we need to keep in mind. Conduct and conduct. Conduct and conduct. What is conduct? The mode of conducting this particular meeting is going to be online, right? Conduct is basically a behavioral pattern, right? Conduct and conduct. Conduct is basically the first, right? Con is given the primary stress and duct follows it. That is the secondary stress. Now, conduct. Con is again given the secondary stress and duct is basically given the prominence spoken for a longer period of time. So therefore, it is going to change the meaning. Conduct is behavioral pattern, whereas conduct is conducting something, inducting, right? So verb. So noun and verb, every time that we use this prominence of the word stress, right? We try to stress which first or the second, it will give the meaning to the particular word. So now I hopefully and believe that you are understanding the meaning of everything that has been shared over here, right? Again, there's an interesting fact that I need to tell you over here. Whenever we are saying one word, right? Conduct and conduct, we know that it has a different meaning, but generally there are going to be words which might not have different meanings. But again, they are spoken in different way. Which is the correct way of speaking, right? Is it the American? Is it the British? Is it the Canadian? It totally depends upon an individual. So conduct and conduct, we cannot definitely change as per the context of it. But over here, it is okay to change, but the pronunciations would be different. So though there are only two syllables every time that we speak, right? These following examples I have taken from American and British dialect, right? These has two syllables, right? Zebra, zebra, figure, figure, right? Sloth, 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 right? So again, these are two syllabic, but however, you need to understand that one takes a prominent, sound, and therefore, which of it takes the prominent sound and how is it spoken? If it is American, it would be the word written format is going to be one and the same. The spelling is going to be one and the same. Zebra, right? Similar to homographs, but over here, homographs are sound similar, right? They sound different. They are written same. Over here, it is only because of the dialect that they are spoken differently. Okay, and not the stress. So zebra will take the first. Z would take the prominent zebra, zebra, right? And over here, if it is British, it is going to zebra, 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 and zebra, right? So therefore, again, the way we are speaking, this pronunciation itself changes at the whole American and British. But those both of them has two syllables, and both of them, even in the first syllable itself, it takes the primary stress. Similarly, the word figure, right? If it is American, it is figure, right? And if it is British, it is figure. Or we do not raw as a final sound, we never speak, right? So figure and figure. Where is the figure and where is the figure, right? So again, fig is the first syllable that takes the prominent over here, the word stress. Sloth, sloth, sloth. It's one monosyllabic, but over here, both there is sloth and it's sloth, right? Sloth and sloth. That is how it is spoken. Now, over here, both it will be sir, first syllable that takes the prominent sound. First, it is only monosyllabic, but the first phoneme, rather, the first sound sir would take the prominent word stress. Right? There are going to be many other words as well, such as dynasty, such as schedule, such as lieutenant. Right? How many sounds do we have in the word dynasty? Dynasty, and this is just for your understanding. Dynasty, so three syllable. If it is three syllable, which syllables takes the prominent sound? It is dynasty. Dynasty, so dynasty is the second syllable would take the prominent sound. T would be very small, short. So it doesn't take neither the secondary stress nor the first. Di would be having the secondary. Dynasty, right? Dynasty. Or then we have, if we are going to understand in terms of American and British English, the word schedule and schedule, right? Schedule and schedule. Over here, you can say word schedule, schedule. But how we speak it schedule, it only has two syllables. And the first sound takes the primary stress, correct. Now we have lieutenant, right? Lieutenant, Lieutenant, lieutenant. If we are speaking the word lieutenant, right? Lieutenant. Unt would be together. Lieutenant. So it is again three syllabic, right? Three syllabic, and again, if it is American, it will be lieutenant, but if it is British, it is going to be lieutenant. Again, be it lieutenant or lieutenant, it will only have three syllable. And even if it is three syllable, the first syllable will take the sound, right? So this is what you need to understand. Interesting fact, homographs, again, British American, or be it the first, second, or four syllabic sounds, or two syllabic sounds, or monosyllabic sounds, it is going to, take a longer period. A certain words are going to take a longer period to be spoken. And if we understand this much, it is much important to think, realize, and recognize that these word stress are not only important, they are going to add a major meaning to everything that is being said. So polysyllabic, we have seen that there are going to be two syllabic sounds, that is disyllabic. Polysyllabic will have three, four, and even five at times. It might take, right? So therefore, these sounds are basically clapped together to make one word, and where multiple sounds are clapped together, one of them is bound to receive more importance, right? So therefore, more importance in terms of speaking it for a longer second than compared to the rest, right? Again, one single word is spoken, in seconds. How many words am I speaking right now? Right, together, but however, we do not recognize this. This comes out very naturally, but it is necessary while we are learning speaking, while we are learning to be a part of academic speaking, right? Profound way of impacting your communication. It is important to definitely go down to the basics of learning the word stress, and that is why it is time to go towards a smooth summary.
So, in short, it is not very difficult to learn what word stress are, right? In English, it is very easy to identify if we go by the rules, right? So therefore, it is very much required to follow the rules that are there for, the verbs, for nouns, for homographs, right? For a prefix, for suffix that we have seen, right? We also need to understand when we see whatever we have learned throughout the session, you need to know that knowledge of putting correct word stress is very much important. Why? Because it delivers the message with intended meaning. It is the word stress that will bring more clarity to what one is trying to say, right? So therefore, to deliver a message successfully, We require the correct knowledge, and therefore we have learned why word stress are important. We need to understand that we have to practice to modulate our pitch, our volume, and duration to get the word stress correct, right? We need to understand that which word we need to pause on. We need to understand where to pause in the particular word itself, right? And that will, however, help us to gain more accuracy in putting the word stress in daily speech. Again, when we speak of word stress in homographs, we need to understand word stress and homographs are very crucial. Both of them are spelled the same. So therefore, when spelled the same, what brings more difference is rather how do you say those words. And when words such as present and present, we have already seen, right? There's also the pronunciation of the phoneme that is important, but at the same point of time, pay attention to the syllable that is there. So when we talk about present and present, the disyllabic word, right, we need to understand how we convey the meaning where and when. So know the pronunciation of noun, know the pronunciation of verb, and then use them accordingly, right? So that is one aspect. We also need to understand that it only using correct pronunciation and word stress will save us from message being disastrous, right? So if you don't want your message to deliver in a haphazard way, you will have to understand that you learn all of the word stress that are required to be put into the English language. And at the end, right, last but not the least, I would say that application of word stress are required, and when they are required, if we utilize them, it can strengthen the oratory skills of an individual. So you need to understand, if you want to grow more powerful, the next topics that we are going to see, we are going to see how much requirement of oratory skills is there, especially when it comes to academics, it comes to professionalism or organizational speeches. So therefore we need to understand how to address the audience and build up our oratory skills. And the small little things such as phonemes and word stress are equally important to bring meaning to the speech. So thank you so much for holding your attention throughout the session. I hope you have understood the session, and you will come to another session with the same spirit and enthusiasm. Thank you.